1,000 blades, taken from the hands of Aegon's fallen enemies, forged in the fiery breath of Valyrian the Dread.
In the realm of Westeros, where treachery, power struggles, and Machiavellian tactics reign supreme, there exists an iconic symbol that transcends mere aesthetics, a throne forged from the blades of conquered foes. Originally envisioned by the legendary conqueror Aegon the Conqueror, the Iron Throne was conceived as a testament to his supremacy and dominion. However, over time it acquired a mystical aura, believed to possess the ability to judge the worthiness of those who dare to claim its seat. Throughout history, the Iron Throne has become synonymous with the ruler's capacity to command respect, instigate betrayal, and even inspire acts of treacherous murder. In this video, we will embark on a journey to unravel the mysteries and significance behind the Iron Throne's composition, how it judges those who sit upon it, why it cannot be stolen, and more. Why did Aegon the Conqueror use swords to build his throne? The infamous Iron Throne is nothing less than a twisted marvel of asymmetrical monstrosity. Crafted by the legendary Aegon the Conqueror, it was forged from the surrendered, mangled remnants of the blades of defeated enemies, or ripped from their dying grasp. Legends and songs by bards in Westeros say that 1,000 swords were fused together in the fiery breath of Valyrian the Black Dread to create this imposing symbol of power, the seat of the king, and his polity. Now, let's talk comfort, or rather, the lack thereof. Aegon I was a firm believer that rulers should never rest too easy, and he made sure to design a seat that defied any notions of relaxation. With its menacing spikes and jagged edges, leaning back is simply out of the question. You can thank the fanged steel lurking behind for that. So basically, a king is always supposed to sit straight and be vigilant, he should never rest while sitting on the throne, and should always be ready to take up arms. So, this was the thought behind the hurtful and torturous design of the Iron Throne and why it is made of swords. But, how many Lord Protectors of the realm has the sword hurt? And what does it mean for them? What does getting cut by Iron Throne mean? The Iron Throne has claimed its fair share of victims. King Viserys I Targaryen learned this the hard way when he stumbled and sliced his left hand down to the bone. Even Maester Jaehaerys had to slice 2 fingers of Viserys to save his king's life from the treacherous seat. And let's not forget Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen, who, clad in armor, emerged from her first encounter with the throne sporting cuts on her legs and left hand. Some even whispered that the throne had rejected her, as if it had a mind of its own. But, there's more. Rumors speak of a more sinister power possessed by the Iron Throne.
Ugly old thing. Yet it has a certain appeal.
It is said that this infamous creation is capable of dealing death itself. Just take the unfortunate case of King Maegor I Targaryen. He had usurped the throne from the King Aenys's children. Furthermore, he committed great atrocities, killing his own men and people who build the Red Keep and Maegor's Holdfast. It is believed that the Iron Throne saw him as greatly unworthy and ended his life. He was found lifeless upon the throne, his arms grotesquely slashed open by the jagged barbs, and a blade piercing his neck beneath the chin. While the true culprit remains a mystery, some speculate that the throne itself orchestrated the macabre demise of the infamous Maegor the Cruel. Why no one ever tried stealing the throne? Well, the Iron Throne is not exactly the most portable piece of furniture. It's so huge and unwieldy that trying to move it would be like imagining Joffrey being kind and just. When Aegon I, the OG Conqueror, decided to build his new capital city, King's Landing, he had to construct the Red Keep and the throne room around the existing Iron Throne, simply because the castle had to be built around the throne and not the other way round. Furthermore, the ugly iron chair wasn't crafted by sculptors and artisans, instead, it was hammered into existence by a bunch of hardcore blacksmiths. That is why it is an asymmetrical stack of swords welded together haphazardly, like a swordsmith's abstract masterpiece. Aegon's dragon Valyrian helped out by melting down the swords to make them bendy. The blacksmiths then did their best to add the swords to the ever-growing pile of pointy goodness, which is why handling the throne is a real trouble. Because of its gargantuan size and lack of portability, no one has ever tried to swipe the Iron Throne and make a run for it during civil wars or rebellions. So when the Dance of the Dragons or Robert's Rebellion went down, defenders didn't bother trying to sneak the throne out of the capital. They just left it there, proudly towering over the chaos like a defiant middle finger to any would-be thieves.
There aren't 1,000 blades. There aren't even 200.
Why is the Iron Throne bigger in House of the Dragon? House of the Dragon is set a couple of centuries before Game of Thrones, and it seems that the Iron Throne has undergone quite the makeover during this period. Gone are the swords adorning the stairs and the platform, and even jutting out menacingly from the chair itself. The physical peril has been dialed down. It seems the Iron Throne in House of the Dragon reflects young Daenerys' childhood vision of the seat. Now, let's not forget the chaos of Robert Baratheon's ascension to the throne. He swept away Targaryen relics from the throne room, giving the Iron Throne a new look altogether. Having said that, there are flashbacks to the Mad King Aerys sitting on a similar throne as Robert's, hinting that Dany's dear old dad may have made some tweaks during his paranoid reign. Over the 280 years leading up to Robert's rule, the Iron Throne likely saw its fair share of modifications by various kings. However, it was Robert's time that saw the most substantial changes. This was until Drogon reduced the Iron Throne to ashes after his mother's demise. What about customs, inheritance and succession? In the complex world of the Iron Throne's inheritance, things don't always follow the typical male preference primogeniture rule. King Aegon's son Aenys seemed like the obvious heir, but when Aenys' daughter Rhaenyra was born, the question of succession became uncertain. Aenys later had a son named Aegon, which settled the matter for the time being. However, when Aenys died, his brother Maegor seized the throne, bypassing Aenys' rightful heir, Aegon. Maegor eventually died without an heir, leading to debates over who should take the throne. Jaehaerys, Aenys' surviving son, had a strong claim, but some argued for Aegon's twin daughters, Aeria and Rhaenyra. In the end, Aeria and Rhaenyra were excluded due to their gender and young age, and Jaehaerys became the ruler, navigating the tangled web of succession. But things get further interesting with the Great Council of 101 AC, also known as the Great Council of Harrenhal. Old King Jaehaerys I called for this grand gathering after the untimely demise of his son and heir, Balon Targaryen. The lords of the Seven Kingdoms gathered to decide who should follow in dear old Balon's footsteps. Some of the High Lords and fancy folk were all about keeping it in the male line. They believed that this previous Great Council had set a precedent, which stated that the Iron Throne should never pass to a woman or her male descendants. Naturally, Prince Viserys was chosen king by the Great Council. Many years later, Viserys decided to ignore those precedents. In 105 AC, Viserys named his daughter, Rhaenyra, as his heir, despite having 3 sons from his second marriage to Queen Alicent Hightower. And that this decision made by Viserys led to a civil war that became the beginning of the end of the Targaryen rule of Westeros. Let me know what you thought about this video and consider subscribing for more such content. Thanks, and have a good day.